How is everyone doing tonight? What we'll do is we will leave this very minimal. Like, very minimal. We're gonna swap over to this screen because Frost won't be joining us. Ooh, why is it all like that? Move both my hair to both sides. It is extremely clear on one of my screens, extremely clear on two of my screens, and blurry as all hell on the third one. Why? It's like there's a static wall. Well, I'm not showing it on my recording. Well, that sucks. Um. Uh, bu- 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 Sorry, there was a slight issue I needed to take care of. Okay, everything here looks good. Hey, Hannah, how are you? I would like to talk to you later. Um, about getting you a special command. There's a few people that I've met more recently that have their own special command. Um, a few more that I still gotta do. But as someone who I knew a long time ago and then you came back in my life and vice versa, I feel like that is something I'd like to do for you. Um, and I feel like this might actually be hopefully a good one for you to listen to. As I know, life's rough with everyone right now, and hopefully this will give some inspiration. Because I'm going to talk about how uh, life is and things we can do to fix it, some issues there are, and if there are really any issues. Um, One thing I did want to talk about is Created by M, is a follower on this channel. Um, she does some amazing artwork, mostly animal type stuff, but I'm trying to push her to keep going and branching out. She has a huge passion for art, and she is one of the artists on the channel. Maybe, hopefully, she'll stop in. If she does, she does. If she doesn't, she doesn't. But no matter what, it is what it is. I would recommend going to check her out. Anytime she is in any of the streams, go send her a whisper. I haven't gotten her permission to give her direct contact out for art requests. There is a form if anyone is ever interested that you can fill out. It just requires your a valid Gmail. Um, and they'll fill out the form and send it to her. And if she thinks that's some project that she can do for you and deliver on it well, she'll take it on. Also, Hannah, day 2, actual water. still don't like the taste of it, but it is what it is. We might do some gaming later today, after this. No promises, though. It depends on how tired I am feeling. Sickness, all the good stuff. So, as the title of the stream says, The Age of the Echo Chamber. Don't tell me what's good for me. Oh, why is that blurry? Uh-oh. Why is my chat blurry? Hannah, if you wouldn't mind, put something in my chat. Years ago. Years ago. Just to let you know, that notification might go off. I am dealing with something. Yeah, I used to have it down to my butt, as you know. But now it's different. I think creativity is the most creativity is the most versatile. There's so much of it. It exists in every single faction. It's everywhere. It's turned down a little because it's not in a gaming thing, but it is still extremely loud in my ears, JJ. How are you doing today, my friend? But yeah, creativity is just all over, and my biggest issue with it is it's dead. It doesn't exist anymore, and it might sound crazy, and I can see both sides of it, but I'm gonna try and explain my perspective of the decline of it. When I was talking to Frost, if he wanted to do podcasts, he was like, I might be up for it, and everything, and he said, what are we gonna talk about? I was like, I don't know, do you have any ideas? And instantly this hit me. My biggest, I'm going to just talk about, just a few brief examples. I'm not going to go into details of them now. I'll hit them later. But think about the movie industry. Every movie we get now is just a remake, which is taking the exact same thing and redoing it. A remastered, which is taking it but adding, the better stuff. A continuance, which is part 1, part 2, part 3. Or a reimagined, which is the exact same thing, but you change one part of it, so it's like a what-if scenario. But it's all the same story. Even with my favorite genre of movies, horror, there was so much variety at the beginning. And now there's not. Actually, Mr. JJ, let me ask you a question, and it's good that you're relaxing. How many hunters are there, killers, are there in DBD currently? that have a unique story. Every single one, basically. But now they're all, repeats and stuff. Also, Hannah, that one is JJ's custom sound, and there is a custom written for him as well, if I can find it. When he does the written one instead, it will say this. And JJ, I'm actually looking for an answer on how many, because I guarantee you know it. I've been playing a little. I still haven't gotten every single killer yet. But here's a breakdown, an argument for 38 unique stories, and now in 20 years we've gotten maybe one or two more. It's just insane. So here's the breakdown of, my argument for and I guess argument against. I did pull some data. Really, this is more something from my heart than anything, as always on these. But there is a decline in creativity. Reboots, sequels dominate the film industry, like I was talking about earlier. And one of my favorite examples is when I talk with people, is I bring up Borderlands, which had a movie come out. But on top of that, they had a prequel sequel, a sequel prequel, a sequel sequel, and then they had their new one come out. And then the movie. That's it. It's dead. And you instead of putting so much time in this, they went ahead and made a movie about it, which didn't really go anywhere. Sure, it made some big money, but all movies kind of do that. One of the statistics I pulled was, let me go find my statistics. It says a 2021 study at the University of Southern California found the original screenplay accounted for a decreasing percentage in the majority of the studio films over the past 2 decades. What was originally 100% new material, I'm not going to use the big word that I cannot pronounce, back when movies first started coming out, it was all considered new, brand new theories, ideas, comedies, stories to be shown to the families and friends and all around. After about a decade, that dropped to 90%, another decade, so now 2 decades from original, dropped to 70, then 40, and now we're sitting around 2. 2% of films that come out have an original story now. And 4 decades. It just tanked. And I feel like that's because, people in today's aren't really pushed to think for themselves. Everything is, with all the technology we have, it's basically given to kids. When I was a kid, it was the start of it. So, not everyone had technology and cell phones when I was, I'm talking about a young kid, middle school and younger. And the really elderly didn't have that stuff either. And it was like this middle generation that had it for necessities, for work mostly, as technology evolved, so did the work industries. But other than that, that was the turning point, I would say, was about 15 years ago. And as soon as that tilt happened, it just went all downhill. You can go online and find anything except for original idea. Streaming platforms, social media prioritize familiar content. It prioritizes, creations of compilations. It prioritizes reactions, um, but it doesn't prioritize fresh content. Um, Exposing ourselves to this repeat is, I think, what's causing us to then repeat things out there. Movie video games don't go. And the reason why so everyone who didn't see chat, JJ basically put that, movie video games never really go well. There are some exceptions. And I think the reason for it is because, you're already familiar with the story, and you expect so much, and it ends up being kind of a disappointment. um, Commercials, not that there's too many commercials now, especially with, the live streaming, paid no ads, stuff like that. But they all had unique, catchy things that sold them, and now they're all basically the same thing. I have not heard that yet. Do you know when? Also, Hannah, where did you go? I know you're still here. I think she's just mad at me because she realized that I had officially cut my hair, even though that was years ago. Basically, right after me and her stopped talking. I think it's actually more of a fear of failure or laziness that's causing this issue in today's thing. And I think since COVID, actually, I'm going to say since 2020, that problem has grown exponentially. And it's causing the decline of creativity and new material to be slim to none. When you think about things that have happened in, let's continue with the movie industry, you'd have, let's pick a fighting type movie, an animated type movie, a adventure hero type movie. You'd have creative solutions to, save the day. And now you're ending up with, fight the big, huge CGI monster. Fight the big, huge CGI golem. Fight the big CGI dragon. Or it's just big and destructive. They're all the same. I'm going to say that, even on these, let's say you do have a series of movies, games, novels, anything that's good. Another thing I'm going to say is, I'm going to call it canon hype. When you see the trailer for it and you're expecting so much and then nothing actually happens with it. What you saw in the trailer, that's it. That was actually probably the best part of the movie. The other side of this that's not the laziness is the profit side. The side of that's not the fear of failure is the profit side still, is the other side of laziness, I should say. If you know something worked, and let's say it was a movie and they did $20 million in gross profit sales, if you basically redo the same, you're not going to get 20 million, but you might get 18 for no work. You already have most of the stuff. You just got to change a little and go from, instead of remastered, to reimagine. Instead of a remake, to reimagine. That was one of the topics I was going to get to later, was Disney. Disney has bought out just about, they're, I think, at the most they can have without being considered a monopoly. I might be wrong on that, but that they have taken a lot of good concepts and wanted to put their own name on it instead of just buying the rights to it. They just made a new one, and it wasn't that good. I remember there was a joke back several years ago. It was around the time where Marvel hadn't even been bought out by Disney yet. And it was a joke about Disney buying all the entertainment industries. And the only one that they could not buy was the Warner Brothers. And when you think about it, the Warner Brothers is probably the only industry that can simultaneously milk something to it just be dried out as much as possible. But still then, they've taken the time that was used in that milking to design a new solid entertainment, a new solid product. And I think if you're going to do something like that, that's the way to do it. There is a constant evolution of creativity, you know. When we think about art, and this is kind of where I wish Em was in, because, you know, she knows way more about this than me. And once again, seriously, go check her out. So one of my favorite movies, actually it is my favorite movie of all time. And some people like Nabu do know what it is and stuff. I think Frost knows what it is. It is owned by Disney. And I still watch it every single day in a certain time period of the year. But it's well over a month type time period. It's about a month and a half that I watch it straight. And it's an older one, and I love it. It is actually one of the few movies I watch in English that I love. And some people don't like it, and that's fine, and I'm not going to get into opinions and type stuff like that today about certain stuff. I don't know, JJ. Why don't you go to what you could purchase through the Stream Elements stuff with your points in? Look for the Ask Me... Oh, wait, I forgot to do the Ask Me Anything. My bad. Next topic. One of the things that I want to talk about is the art thing, like I said, and this is kind of where I wish Em was in, is, you know, you started with carvings, and that turned into sculptures. And then you couldn't bring around these big sculptures, so it turned into 2D drawings. And you could bring those everywhere. The new problem, new adversities, forced us to develop creative solutions. And then people saw, oh yeah, we could bring it around anywhere. But if I really want to see the detail, I have to go still to, you know, the statue, the monument, whatever, and get that 3D expression. So out came, you know, the 3D art, the paintings, all that stuff. And as technology evolved, then so did, you know, digital media art, photography, then movies, games, video games, all that stuff, and evolved as society has changed. But the other thing is, as we evolve more, we run out of less and less problems. I could do this. She doesn't have a channel, but you guys should still be able to do whispers. I'm trying to remember exactly what her name is. Woo! Never's played a game. They just have the Twitch channel, they're not a creator. But go give her at least, you know, a follow. Say hi if you can in her general chat, if she's got one. If not, attempt to whisper her. It can help you out with a lot of art stuff and at least give you some inspiration. Another one that I want to talk about that is very inspiring is Fopmus Prime, Jason Foppy. He is another one of my artists, but he's not drawing type art. I do have I played it on 3 or 4 streams, I think. Some of the really different music that we have on here is from him. Um, he can basically pick up an instrument and go, especially a string instrument. Fantastic bass player. Can play, you name it, he can do it. Um, Very inspirational guy, very funny guy. Dark humor, doesn't have a filter, but other than that, and I think it also shows, during the music industry, exactly what I said with the art, though, and that's kind of why I made that transition. Up until well, send me over some, JJ. I'll definitely take a look, and I won't share them, I promise. Um, but when you look at the radio, because I want to say that's probably the largest segment of time that one item dominated the music industry. That's in the modern age, is the radio. But the songs and the type of music, how they were played, how much music there was to the talk shows on the radio, game shows that were on the radio, infomercials that were on all that changed throughout time. Um, the approaches to initiative for the creative mark has also changed. It's hard to just say I want to do this, so I'm going to make it happen now, because what do you want to do that's new? It takes a lot of thought to come up with a new idea in today's age. I know that sounds stupid because we all have imagination, but to make whatever you're imagining that is new tangible sometimes just isn't possible with the current technology. And I guess that's a point against this, and this is where I'm gonna start getting into the arguments against the decline for creativity and new ideas. Is there's so much stuff that isn't done. It's just no one's figured out how to do it, and that's a little demoralizing. And I think that might contribute to it. However, it is still possible to be done. We just need to go out there and grab it. And we had a podcast about it. It was just the Just Do a podcast. If you want to do something, set yourself 3 days. Within 3 days, you need to take some kind of action. And then within 3 more days, you need to take a further action. And then within the final of those 3, so it's 3 days, but 3 times, you need to have a plan that you've done, your actions, and getting into your cycle. Just checking over on chat, too. But the constant evolution of creativity adapts and evolves. New genres, styles, technologies emerge. They push boundaries of challenging traditional norms. They're such a staple, I guess, in our everyday life that we don't realize how important they are. Consider, the rise of independent cinemas, the explosion of online art creation, the innovation of AI specifically in art, video editing, adaptations, all that stuff. It's like I said, I've got a little emergency going on, but there's nothing I can physically do about it. So, let's talk about a little bit of the niche communities. While there is like mainstream media, if you want to call it, the thing that's always constant, in terms of how much support it gets, it's trying to think of the words. Yes, it's a constant how much support it gets, but it's not constant on what is standard on it. it's funny to me on how we have all these subcultures, how we have all these different main cultures, even. We have all these perspectives. Obviously, art's in the eye of the beholder. What I might think is interesting, someone might not. And that's perfectly acceptable. But that should mean there's such a there has to be so much of a variety of new things constantly being injected into society. And earlier when I said that new ideas is dead, I don't think it is. I should have worded that better. I should say the frequency that new ideas are coming in has drastically dropped. And that's what's making it, very hard to identify as a new idea. I think it's easier for us to look at something and nitpick it to try and prove it's not a new idea than it is to just accept that it is. Determining whether something's truly original, of course, like I said, is subjective. We could nitpick it and all that. Looking upon it on other ideas, when you think about art, there are some art pieces out there that are phenomenal. They're one of a kind, they say. They're high-end prices. Some of them are not even allowed to be sold. But they're not original. They took something and just upscaled it. They remastered it, if you will. And I think that's where it's hard to draw the line. And when I word it like this, I'm sure people are going to understand. But inspiration can be drawn from a wide variety of sources. But just like when you were in school and you had to cite those sources, it's a lot. When I was helping teach a class, I ended up having them do a little project. And I said, if you guys take anything that is not original, make sure you do cite it. And one of them asked me, well, how do you define if it's original? And we ended up doing a lot of research together as a group. And we found out that for something to not be considered plagiarized, it has to be common knowledge. Well, if you think about that, how can something be new but also common knowledge? Which means the only way to get a truly original idea is for it to never have been heard by anyone. And for it to then also, catch on enough that you could share it and people understand that it's an idea, for it to then become that original source of it being common knowledge, which makes creating these new ideas extremely difficult. There was another person. Oh, my statistic page closed out completely. I don't like it. Let's see, yeah, I can't find it. What's the university? William Mary? Something like that. There's a professor there named Dr. Kim, and they did statistic results, and it shows, when we take, let's do the just name, Generation Z was entering high school and in the prime of education, they had significantly higher neural pathways that go to the part of the brain that's for creativity, imagination, inspiration than the millennials. And then from the millennials to Gen Z, and then whatever after Alpha, I think it's called. I obviously got the point. I was only skimming through it. And it's to the point where it's not even... You can be asleep and have just as much activity in those pathways than when people are trying to be, because they don't see a point on it anymore. The digital age has truly, I think, crushed forms of artistic expression. And I think when it first started, everyone was like, oh, this is going to be great. There's going to be so many new things we could do. There were things I physically couldn't do with my body for creative art. People that had the passion for it, but maybe had a bodily issue that they couldn't draw or paint, but they could do it on digital tablets, touch screens, computers, phones. And I felt like it could have gone there, but instead we chose path B, which led down, that AI. And now, when new ideas are being made by a computer and an algorithm, it's not fun. Now, when we go back into music, half the singers in the world, 83% of musicians, not just singers, musicians, that are in bands in the United States, 83 do not write their own music, do not write their own lyrics. To me, that's a shame. And I am kind of happy that Foppy's not watching us now, because I feel like he'd lose his stuff here in that statistic, as he puts in so much work, and I could not be more blown away with, how his stuff turns out. Here's some more specific examples about music. Top hits on charts, they follow predictable formulas. They have independent music scenes that thrive over, diverse genres, experimental sounds. Okay. Sorry, I had someone talking to me. But they're all that. You can listen to one band right now and another band and take away the lyrics. They'll have the same beat. They'll have the same motions, same rhythm. God, that mug is heavy. Can't wait to have one with my logo on it. Speaking of my logo, it's not updating. It still says that we have 20 out of 20 available. We have 16 out of 20 left. They can be purchased on Discord by messaging me, and we can work something out, or with your channel points. If you are stopped by, make sure you hit the follow also, as every follow will be doing $10 to our charity that we do when we play Phasmophobia. Going to the film, we talked about, I would say, unfortunately, especially in the United States, the superhero blockbuster dominates the box office. Independent film franchises, as well as all the franchises in Hollywood, keep pushing towards that thing. And it's because, it's got storytelling, it's got the drama, it's got the action. But like I said, they kind of all boil down to now, in modern day, a CGI fight. And Disney's doing that too. Or there's, another thing that's happening, especially in the film industry now, is the pressure to meet the new open for everyone standards, which I'm not against that standard, to include everyone. And I feel like it didn't exist 20 years ago. And things weren't limited by it, where now everyone feels obligated that they have to support it. And because they have to support it, they can only include so much. They have to abide by certain rules. They can say certain things. They can't say certain things. It's just the world that we live in. And I feel like that's also a limiting factor on why creativity is dying down, is because you can't do it as much anymore. It's just not sociably acceptable. And I'm going to just throw something out that affects, I'm not going to go into anything, but affects everyone, is religion. Whether if you participate in a religion or not. And I'm choosing religion because it doesn't happen that much in terms of films that it has to be involving or not involving a certain religion. You can't cross certain lines in today's world. But as much as people say, oh, you have to respect it and be open and inviting about it, well, it's also my choice. And if I don't want to, just don't come watch my movie, let's say. I feel like people have to realize that just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's not for someone else. Just like if it is for you, it might not be for someone else. And I feel like the film industry can't get a hold of that because of the way society is right now. And that is why in the film industry I feel like creativity is dying. In visual arts, such as paintings, drawings, murals, sculptures, stuff like that, the digital age, like I said, did take over. But the internet also, took away creativity on this. When you're looking at, a picture of a hand-carved statue that took some guy 4 years to carve out with a little tiny pick to get that perfect archway, for an eye or something, you're like, oh, that's cool. And then look at something else. Where when you actually go out to the museums, go out to the galleries, go out to the showrooms, you're not sometimes allowed to touch all these. Some of them you are, very rarely, but you're able to, see it from different angles. You're invested your time, sometimes even your money to go see this. So your brain connects with it more. And then you're inspired to go make something that is based off of, let's say, a statue, but it's your own statue. What to say? You don't even know what my religion is. Maybe you do want to join. Maybe you're already my religion. Who knows? We don't get into specifics on this channel, but of course, if you do want to talk about it privately, you've got my personal Discord. Actually, JJ, can you do me a favor? Can you do 2 commands for me? Explanation Discord and explanation server for me, my friend? I would very much appreciate you putting both those in. But I feel like that's where we're at. And that gives me so much inspiration. Because, thank you, we have so much room, but no one's doing it. So if we have 1 million people, let's say, and before this, 500,000 would take that chance, would do something new. And now we've got 10 million people, and only 1,000 are taking that chance. Explanation server. I'd rather be part of that 1,000. And, not for fame, not for fortune, just like this. I don't do it for that. But, because it'd make me feel proud of what I've done. It'd make me feel like maybe I did, thank you, I did help out someone. I'm probably going to get yelled at for this. Let's see if they're still around. Yeah, okay, she had to go. But that's fine, because I'm going to bring it up anyways, and if she yells at me, that's fine. Come on, thank you. Hannah is someone that I knew a while back. We knew each other pretty well, is all I'll say. And, we had a lot of interesting, new, original, creative conversations. But things died out. Things got boring. But, now we're starting to talk again. She found my channel. I very do much appreciate the support she gave me. But I'm still looking for those new creative ideas even today. Nothing's changed. Except for I feel like they're harder to come by. And I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I feel like that's a challenge, and we should take on that challenge. We should see that there's very little new ideas and say, well, I'm going to change it. I am going to make the new idea. I wouldn't say it's a new idea, but it's an unheard idea, was streaming without social media. I do not use any social media other than Discord to just hit all of you guys up at once saying, hey, I'm going live. Or, of course, if any of you need to talk, here's how you can reach me. But the way I go about it's different. Sure, if I hit affiliate, I'll be woohoo happy, but like I said, I don't do this for the money. I do this to spread some positivity, spread some joy. that's why I've been doing, I gotta step up my game a little, but the podcast on Wednesdays so I could talk with you guys. I am trying to plan it, but in March we are going to be having the assembly. I hope we'll all talk, be able to, bring up some topics we all want. I might record it. I don't think I'm going to stream it. And of course, I'm only going to record it if I have everyone's permission. But it's all about, just talking and having a good time as a big social group. I feel like it is possible to create a new idea with a group. It can be a very good thing. It can be a bad thing. I do 100% agree with you, JJ. The reason why I'm not using it is because I feel like it's not personable. It's a disconnect. There's negativity on it. And I don't want to accidentally, say something that might fuel that disconnect. Instead, I want to try something new. Oh no, no, no. Sorry, I just got a very, disruptive text. I brought it up earlier. We were talking about this at my day job, and I mentioned it. I was like, yeah, I don't really have social media. And they're like, oh, well, what about Instagram? Like, I have an Instagram, but I don't use it. I was like, I don't know. Here's the most I can tell you. I know there was an app that was very cancerous and toxic, and it was Twitter, but it's like something now. And I think I called it Z. I think a lot of people do. Sorry, I'm dealing with some family issues right now that I might have to leave for, but I don't think I have to. Um, some issues with some of our extended family, um, like through marriage and stuff. I don't have details yet, though, so I think it's fine. But sorry about the distractions on this. I didn't think that it was going to be like this. Um, it's actually, I sometimes wear the hoodie for his business on stream. Not that you guys can really see. You just really see this part of me. And sometimes even when I'm wearing these lower cut things, it looks like I'm not even wearing a hoodie or I'm wearing a tank top or something. Um, but overall, that's what I think I got. Because of this, I don't think I'm going to be gaming tonight. Um, I think I'm still going to post this on YouTube as a recording. Someone did tell me maybe I should do just isolate. I wanted to post stuff on YouTube unedited so people who couldn't watch the stream could go back and watch them. And I finally found out what's up with, after I did a little talking with Frost and someone else, I did some deep dive. So I run 4K capture for webcam, 4K capture for game, and 4K capture for Windows. 3 different things on 2 different capture cards. It is too much for any platform to handle, and that's why it's that weird number. It brings it all the way down to the lowest setting, but then does something different. Is he getting banned? I've never even made an account for it, so I have no idea. I know it's like YouTube Shorts, but for social media? Well, that's another point. All these social media things are all the same thing, just kind of like what we were talking about earlier. everything's just a repeat. Oh. But people said maybe I should just isolate the audio and put it onto Spotify. I think I used to use Spotify or Pandora, one of the two, way, like, when I had, like, an MP3 player, or, like, like, the original iPods that weren't touchscreen, like, when it first came out type deal, like, I went from those to that, and now I really don't. I just listen to my stuff downloaded, after it takes years to download from overseas, because all my music's in a different language. Oh. Well, I don't know. Flash is streaming, so what's he streaming? He's probably doing Phasmophobia. That's, like, his thing. He is a partner with Phasmophobia. I'm not going to raid him. He's just getting started or just ending, one or the other. But go check it out. It's Flash Force. He is a partner with Phasmophobia if you want. I think that's all I got for this topic. We'll probably touch on it again. We always do reference back to these podcasts and stuff. Sorry, once again, at the end I got distracted. I'm going to go try and figure out exactly what's going on. It's a little saddening, but I think everything's going to work out in the end. But everyone else, stay positive, stay safe, time is so important. And if I learned anything from that text message I got earlier, it's definitely that time is very important. I do seriously appreciate everything you guys do for me, whether if you stay 1 minute, the whole thing, watch the VOD, followed on YouTube, send me a message, send me an email, DM, Discord, any of it. It does take up time, and I could not be more appreciative of it, and I hope that all of you have a great night.